Hi, welcome to today's lesson. We are going to learn the letter C. That's correct. That's the letter C. So, we're going to pronounce the letter and most importantly, learn to read and write the letter in your Puppy Lines book. So let's go!
But before we start, like and subscribe below.
So, let's listen to the sound and look at the pictures closely. The letter C. The short sound of C. Look at the letter C. Now, what's the sound of C? The sound of C is K. Now you say it. That's correct. So the short sound of C is K. The short sound of C is K. Now look at the picture. Crib. The baby sleeps in a crib. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. Crib. Look at the picture. This is called a caterpillar. The caterpillar eats leaves. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. Caterpillar. Great job! Look at the picture. Crayon. The children love to write with their crayon. They also love to color as well with their crayons. Crayon. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. Crayon. Now look at the picture. Castanet. A castanet is a type of musical instrument. Castanet. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. Castanet. I'm sure you're going to hear more about it. Look at the picture. Cat. Cat. A cat is a type of animal. The cat is also a pet. Cat. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. Cat. Look at the picture. This is a type of home. It's called a cottage. Cottage. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. Cottage. I'm sure you're going to hear more about it. Look at the picture. Coconut. Coconut is a type of food. Coconut. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. Coconut. Now look at the picture. Cup. Cup. The girl is drinking from a cup. Cup. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. It begins with the letter C. It begins with the short sound K. Cup. Great job! Boys and girls, let's get ready to hear the story. Krusty the blue cat went into the rugged cabin and sat in an old crib in the corner. He noticed Cuppy the crab, who was walking towards the scrapped parts of an old cart. Krusty cried out, Cuppy the crab, look out! He slipped and fell in an oil spill on the ground. Sorry, Cuppy. Can you write the letter C on the puppy lines? Let's try and see. Here are some instructions before you start. You must write across the page. That is from left to right, which at the same time will help you to learn to write better. Now, let's look at your seating position. As a student, this is very important. You should sit correctly at your table, comfortably holding your tripod pencil. Yes? Great job! Now, sit back up straight, lean back on your chair rest. Do not allow your pencil to lean over the table. Ensure that your chair is pulled close to your table, and your feet must be kept flat on the floor. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. Now, what's this letter again?
C.
That's correct. The short sound of C is K. Look at the picture, listen, then write the letter C. You pull back and around. Slowly, you pull back and around. Great job! Try it with your finger in the air. Slowly, you pull back and around. You pull back and around. Amazing job! Great! Now keep practicing. Now let's write our letters like Peppy the puppy. Always remember that with body letters, you write between the dotted blue line and the red line. Let's try our letters like Peppy the puppy. Write the letter C in your Penmanship Puppy Lines book. Now, let's try it on the paper. Slowly, you pull back and around. Amazing job! You pull back and around. Don't forget to do finger spacing. You pull back and around. That's correct. You pull back and around. You pull back and around.
I love my puppy lines.
You pull back and around. Amazing job! Now that you have completed your lesson on the letter C, stay tuned for the letter G. The sound of the letter G is G.
If you've reached this far in our video, we'd love to hear you comment below. Our channel is just for you guys. Check the educational links below.